Hello and welcome to Points of Interest. I'm one of your hosts, Jake, along with my co-host, James, over here.
Hey, guys.
If you're new to the show, each week we come to you with video game news from around the internet.
Woo! That sounds so fancy.
Right?
Around the internet.
Around the internet.
Not just like in parts of it.
We
but
search around the internet, at least one or two sites.
From multiple countries.
From multiple countries.
Sometimes Eurogamer comes up. You never know.
I try to go to Eurogamer almost first, because every time you go to an article on almost any website, like, according to Eurogamer, I'm like, well, I'm going to skip the middleman here and just go to Eurogamer.
Exactly.
If you want to keep up with what we're doing, you can get the show on SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play, and Stitcher for the audio versions, and YouTube and VidMe for the video versions.
Boom.
Make sure you follow us on Twitter at IR Games. Keep up with the updates. We'll send out links and whatever. And if you want to respond to us,
punch.
tweet at us at IR Games with the hashtag POI, and we'll be sure to respond.
Turns out there's actually a show called Persons of Interest that does hashtag POI, so it makes it kind of difficult. But do it anyways. Maybe we'll just like compete with them. Overrun them.
It's a TV show.
That's the idea.
It's going to fail before we do. Let's be honest. So, E3 is coming up next week.
Insert big graphics.
You're going to do that?
No.
Oh, well. I don't edit this show. You do. So, over the last week, we put out a couple videos asking you guys for your thoughts and predictions on the show, and we wanted to highlight some of the responses we got. So, James, who's up first?
Are you taking all like the hand talking so I can't use my hands this time? Are we switching roles with this here? This is like...
As someone who makes almost all of our thumbnails, I talk with my hands significantly more than you do.
That's fair.
And part of it's not I talk with my hands, part of it's I just fidget.
Yeah.
So you see me like playing with my glasses and my hair.
I play with my hair and my beard all the time.
Yeah,
that's
so
probably why
like,
you cut your beard, right? So you don't play with it as much.
That's a good portion of it. But if you scrub through our video, you see me like sitting there like messing with my face and touching my glasses and playing with my ring and my pen.
True.
And James is just like sitting there and like this is kind of the movements you do occasionally and turn your
Well,
head.
I think it's more because I know how bad I am at talking with my hands, so I'm very intentional to stop doing it when I can.
You should. Nobody can see you when you're talking during the regular day.
Well, that's true. I've slowly started to break myself of that because I don't see people on a regular basis.
I'm just like you should talk. I don't know. Talking with my hands is super helpful.
No, you're good. This is why we do a podcast.
Keep my mind flowing anyway.
Yeah. See, welcome into the stuff right
You're
here.
into the inner circle now. You're one of our persons of interest.
I love it. All right, so E3, we got some good feedback from you guys on what you're seeing. We also talked a ton about it last week. We're going to talk more about it this week because it's E3.
It's E3.
It's like Christmas, but you can't open anything right now.
it's like
knowing
what you're going to get for Christmas.
It's like seeing your Christmas packages, but there's like a little like window cut out, so you can kind of make out pieces of it. You might be able to see the whole thing. Maybe they cut out the backside of it, so it's just like a barcode. That's what E3 is like.
It's more like a Christmas package that has a money slot on top that says, "Will open on a specific date. Insert coins to get package."
Okay, all right. I'll give
so
you
it's
that.
kind of like a store.
It's all right. So this week we heard from a lot of you guys. One of the big ones, I was talking with our friends over at Pixel Juice over in the UK, over the pond, right? Is that what they call it?
Cross the pond.
Cross the pond. I go over ponds personally. I don't just cross. Just fly over.
Run really fast.
I'm not into that. So they just put out an E3 video yesterday, talking about their predictions and the things that they're looking for. And these guys are really fun, first of all. And we've got Luke and we've got Jordan and we've got third person. I can't remember the name, and I'm really mad.
I thought you
at
had it,
myself to do
and I was like, "Whoa, how'd you find out?"
I could guess like Matt or
hang on,
or Blake. I don't know.
Keep talking.
But so one of the things
I want you. Hang on, sorry. Just like highlight him in the video with an arrow. Just third person. Like scroll their names across. Luke. Third person.
But anyways, one of the games that they highlighted in their little discussions, and we'll link to their video so you can catch the whole thing if you want to. But they talked about Spider-Man. And I'm really excited about Spider-Man. I've always loved Spider-Man. He's been one of my favorite superhero characters. He's just a real fun, unique kind of thing that I think you don't see in a lot of cases. So what do we know about Spider-Man? That's the question, right? We know that Insomniac's doing it, and that's pretty much what we know, right? We don't know a ton. They debuted the trailer for it last year. They had some gameplay, looked like kind of cinematics. It was a weird blend of the two.
Yeah.
It just got you really excited for what it could be. We haven't really had a good Spider-Man game. Okay, we haven't had a good Spider-Man game at all since PlayStation 2 era with Spider-Man 2. was a long time ago. Or was it PlayStation 3?
It's PlayStation.
It's PlayStation. Yeah. So Spider-Man 2, that's the last good one we had. We just haven't really had like a good open world
I
experience.
played Spider-Man 3 on the Wii, and you want to talk about just the world's definition of a disappointment.
Right.
Of just like a console and a game.
Yeah. So, like I said, first debuted last year. They actually just announced yesterday that they were officially going to be at E3. A lot of companies, wait right up until the end to let you know if certain games are going to be there, or they won't even tell you about it if you're like Bethesda, which we'll get to later. Insomniac did confirm yesterday in a tweet that they're going to be at E3 with Spider-Man, which gets me really jazzed.
Yeah. I'm excited to see the next Spider-Man. To see I feel like this is the Spider-Man that we've all always wanted.
Yeah.
Like Spider-Man 1 was kind of like, it was kind of fun.
Yeah, you got to
I played Spider-Man. I played Spider-Man 1 a lot.
It was clunky.
I had it. Yeah, it was clunky. It was.
That's what games were back in the day.
Low
honestly.
textures.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna give up. I am so sorry. We don't know your name.
That's okay.
I'm like embarrassed.
He's fine. It's fine. He talks all the time, so no one ever says his name.
I know that's the thing. Like he says the other two's names all the time. No one says his.
Yeah. So you can correct us. It's fine.
This is in the video you saw him like jumping through a diner and like leaping out a window. It's like it's the acrobatics that we've always wanted from Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so excited.
Yeah, it should be really awesome. One of the details we do know is that it's using the same engine that Ratchet and Clank used, which makes sense because it's Insomniac. But that's a cartoon. This is not a cartoon. I guess they're kind of all cartoons if we're being completely honest here, but it's a very different style. So I'm interested to see what that looks like. But Ratchet and Clank was super polished.
Well, you hope it certainly moves faster than Ratchet moves. Because not that Ratchet moves slow.
Well, he moved apropos to the world he was in.
He has little tiny legs and just kind of like bounces along. If Spider-Man moves like that, I'm turning off the game immediately.
It might be kind of fun to move as Spider-Man like that for just like a bit.
Just like a bit for a minute. You're like, oh, it's funny. He moves like Ratchet.
So there was a possible rumor that it may be releasing this year. And I think this might be a stretch because we did only see the first part last year. We haven't seen anything, but it was a Marvel VP that kind of blurted it out. And is he like really in the know? Like no one really knows for sure. You would think someone high up at Marvel with something like this, with Marvel trying to re-emphasize their focus on video games and actually making quality titles to go along with the movies and franchise things like that. You think they would be in the know.
I mean, would they be in the know about the video game, or would they have seen something on a sheet, 10 months ago and been like, oh, cool, we're slating it for 2017. Or maybe he saw Spider-Man game 2017, missed the E3 part. And just like, I think it's coming out in 2017.
It's hard to say, but I'm really excited for it. I would love to see it this year. I don't think that's going to happen. I think it's like Q1, Q2 next year. We'll probably get a year right now, maybe like
I think you said
season.
Summer.
Yeah,
that's what we talked about.
I think that's what we were talking about last week. Was
I didn't write it down. Yeah, I think we mentioned summer for being a Spider-Man.
Right.
So Spider-Man feels like it'd be a summer game. Like I know they don't release games based on what it feels like, but look at it. Like it's a summertime game. Like you've been playing Spider-Man? Yes.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, exactly. I think that's all well and good. So one of the other games outside of that, because that's a really good game, it's going to be good.
Yes.
I'm excited. I have a lot of faith in Insomniac, but what we have next, I didn't have it pulled up in front of me, but God of War, that's what we're really excited about. We've got a good friend of ours, a nice one of our followers on Twitter. He likes to keep in touch, things like that. His name's Jared Bayshard. And here he says, no predictions, but I'm hoping to see new stuff on Spider-Man, God of War, and Red Dead 2. Boy, you are going to be excited for 2 of 3 things here at E3 this year. So we're obviously going to see stuff from Spider-Man, but God of War is almost guaranteed at this point, if it hasn't already been said.
Yeah.
We saw some pictures last week of them starting to paint the murals for E3 that go like around the area of Los Angeles and that. Mm-hmm. And it was all God of War stuff because, shocker, God of War is kind of a big name for the PlayStation franchise. It kind of came out of, I feel like it came out of nowhere last year at E3. Like we knew that God of War was rumored and we knew that they had filed trademarks and all that jazz, but it happens all the time. And we hadn't really seen anything concrete. And then just that 9-minute trailer that we got last year
so good, though.
Unbelievable. Like when you walk into this not cave, but like a little shack, a lean-to basically, and you just see the shadowed figure like come out, and you see like the red stripe on his arm, and
this like face shows up, and it's just all bearded. Man, just. I guess we didn't mention it last year. Maybe we did, but just like Sony's conference last year was so amazing. Just
really well done,
front to back. It's just like trailer.
Really, the
orchestra.
The orchestra is what really.
That's what awesome because the lead in God of War was the first thing out of the gate in Sony's conference, and so it was just this long like 3 or 5 minute orchestral piece. They're like, man, I recognize some of those little overtones coming through here. I'm like, that sounds like God of War, and then it shows the kid playing. And then Kratos steps up and walks out of the shadows like, what?
I remember because we were watching it and we were watching it with my wife. And my wife was like, what do you guys... Like, we were basically drooling out of our chairs, right? We were falling down.
Just for like an hour and a half.
and so, but like, even just in the first like 5 minutes. And we heard the music and then you see Kratos walk out and she's like, who's that? Talk about immersion breaking. Like, mirror shattered, gone.
This year for E3, we should have our wives go watch a movie at my place or something.
Literally go anywhere but here. Thank you. Yeah, so we're really excited for God of War. We loved the original ones.
Yes.
So debuted last year, ton of displays all over the city. I'm sure we're going to see some gameplay. I wouldn't be surprised if they do like a live demo, right? Like from the stage.
I would think so.
Or at least live-ish, where they make you think it's live.
The rehearsed live
There's
demo.
A guy standing there with a controller. Like, I think we're going to see something like
Very
that.
much like the Days Gone live demo we saw last year.
Yeah, I think so. We don't know when it's coming out. They're very good at keeping a tight lid on these things. There's been like pretty much one leak since then, and it was a collector's edition listing for the God of War that comes out eventually. And there's no real release date in there. They had one of the actors, like one of the voice actors, used to play a guy on Star Trek, or not Star Trek, Stargate, SG-1, way back in the day.
I was like,
Teal'c had the thing on his head. If you guys ever watched Stargate, I watch Stargate all the time.
I'm not a nerd.
It was a sci-fi show. Like, it was like on the Sci-Fi Channel before it was like Sci-Fi or whatever that crap is. So he had in his like Twitter bio like God of War 2017. And like people noticed it, and then a few days later it changed to 2018. A few days later it just disappeared entirely. So
changed to 2018. All of a sudden you see up on all the news websites, God of War delayed.
And so you don't know. Like, I can't imagine that was legitimate. He probably just put, I was working on it this year, so 2017. Brr.
I mean, that's probably one of those things.
It's
like he worked on it a few years
thing.
ago. Or even in 2016, he was doing like wrapping up like pickups for voice acting.
Yeah.
And he goes, "You know when it's coming out yet?" Like, "Yeah, we're hoping for 2017." And just like not thinking, like he's putting stuff in his bio for the last stuff, and he's like, "Yeah, 2017 is what they said." And then somebody calls him like, "Yo,
can you
change that, please?"
Got it. 2018. No, that's not what we meant.
Get rid of that, please.
People are mad that the game's already broken. We're still 2 years away. So we don't really have a lot of info. The collector's edition sounds really cool if this turns out to be legit. A 9-inch statue of Kratos and Atreus battling two Helmsters. I don't know what all of those words mean.
I know what that first one is.
But that sounds awesome. I want it. 2 carved Sons toys figurines, steelbook case, lithograph print. I like lithograph prints. They're pretty cool. Cloth Game World map. Cloth.
We'll take.
Done. Digital soundtrack, dynamic theme, and then some in-game shields.
You know, at the end of the day, all I really want out of that is everything from the steelbook down. You don't really need the toy figures or the 9-inch statues.
I would go for the 9-inch statue. That would be a cool like centerpiece, like if you talk about like collectibles,
that'd be cool for, like, the
gaming
studio.
collectibles. Yeah,
Like that's cool, like background noise.
Be awesome.
Which, when we get our studio finished, we'll do that. But
You got to start somewhere. Might as well start with God of War Collector's
might as well start with a solid 9 inches.
Can't say that.
Solid pause.
All right, so another game. Everybody's talking about Red Dead 2, but Jared brought it up, so he gets credit.
Yeah.
Points to Jared. Red Dead 2, sorry, we're not going to see it at E3. It's going to be a stretch, and the reason is not because it's not done yet. The reason is not because it's been delayed. Rockstar games are always delayed. That's a normal thing. If you thought when they said fall 2017 it would actually be fall 2017, well, then you've never paid attention to Rockstar ever. So that's just not their thing. They delay games. I don't remember the last time they've released a game on time when they did GTA.
But Rockstar is the epitome of delaying games and putting out working ones.
Oh, yeah. It's for a good reason.
Like, you never, maybe there has been in the past, and correct me if I'm wrong, but GTA 5 comes out, the online stuff didn't release with it, but when it came out, it worked.
Yeah.
And no one looks back at GTA 5 with the delay, and who even remembers that GTA 5
Right.
was delayed?
PC users, that's who.
Yeah, well, PC users should have played on consoles.
Yeah.
And that, I mean, that was one of the questions I had because I heard somebody else talking about it. Like, do you think we see the PC release day and date with the console release of Red Dead 2 with GTA being such a big PC game now?
Yeah. I think it's going to be closer than the GTA one. The GTA one was delayed by like a year. Which is stupid and should never be that way. Like, I know that PC
that being
gaming...
said, GTA 5 was on PS3, Xbox 360, Xbox One, PS4,
Well, the next gen came a little bit later. Yeah. But PC, I think, even came like... It was a terrible launching like that. I don't think it'll be as bad this time. I don't think it'll be same-day release. I don't envision that happening. Maybe it will. Maybe they'll surprise us, and that'd be great and wonderful for all you PC guys out there. But I just don't. It's not very Rockstar-ish to be like that. So the delay is not scary. Like Spring 2018, that's fine. There's other stuff to play this fall, and I think it'll be really good to go. So it's okay to delay that because this is going to be a big game. We haven't really seen anything. We've seen a couple teaser images. We saw the official debut trailer, which was just basically cinematic stuff, like some guys riding on horses and a couple shots of a saloon. It looks like the Old West. That's what we know.
That's what it's supposed to be.
That's it. And typically they don't come to E3. They have their own reveals either before E3 or after. I don't see it happening before. Normally we would know about it before, and then they would have press events, and they don't have anything like that. So I'm guessing we'll see something maybe a week or two after E3. We'll see their own press event or something like that. The only possibility, and this is a very thin one, and don't blame us if it doesn't happen, but they do have the exclusivity agreement with PlayStation.
I wonder with
for
that,
like DLC and stuff like that. I'm assuming
instead of seeing it at E3, we see it at PSX.
How far away is PSX?
Don't know.
That's later.
Is it a spring thing, or is that that's a?
I think that's the fall.
Hasn't passed us yet this year.
No.
So I wonder if we see it then, because like if it's in the fall, then we see maybe some gameplay at PSX, and then it's out in 3 months. But maybe longer. Maybe that's too far for.
Actually, I think PSX did already. No, it hasn't happened yet. Yeah, it's December, is when it happens.
Yeah,
every December. So it could be
in line with that. In them like not wanting to release stuff.
I don't know.
Maybe not, but it's just like, all right, comes out and.
I think we'll see more stuff at PSX for Red Dead, but given that they're supposed to launch in spring of 2018, if they don't do any big reveals before then, I'd be pretty surprised. I think they'll do their own thing here in a month or two maybe, and just get some hype in it, maybe just a gameplay trailer and then nothing for a couple months, and have the stuff really. The only way we might see some here is a snippet during Sony's press conference. I think we're not going to see it at Microsoft because Microsoft didn't pay for the exclusive stuff. So maybe it'll be a montage. Maybe it'll be like a small, like 30-second, 1-minute bit on the Sony conference. I don't think they'll be on the floor talking about it. I don't think there'll be playable anything. It's not going to be like closed behind the doors scene, anything like that. It's just, we're just not going to see it.
Yeah.
So it would be cool because I'm really excited for it. I just don't think it's good. It just realistically, it doesn't make sense for them to change they could, like Pixel Juice said, they could literally like sell out like whole press events just for themselves.
It's true.
Rockstar's
really not a company, it's an empire.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Very much so.
Exactly. And so that's how it goes. Next up, one that is very near and dear to my heart. Borderlands 3. Yay! This one comes straight to us from Duffin's Land, one of our good old friends we play Borderlands and Destiny and stuff with. He wants to see Borderlands 3. I mean, who doesn't want to see it at this point?
As long as it's not the same as the pre-sequel, I'll be happy.
That's true. As long as we have normal gravity, I will be happy. So Borderlands 3, it's all just rumors right now. We saw a tech demo in Unreal Engine 4 earlier this year at Game Developers Conference. There was no like actual like footage of Borderlands stuff. It was just like, look at what we're doing in the new Borderlands game with this engine, and then like tech demonstration. There was nothing. That's all we've seen. May not be called Borderlands 3. That's kind of the latest rumors with it, that it could be called something else. Again, not really that important to me what it's called.
Not really.
As far as we can tell, it's going to be a sequel. It's going to come after everything. We don't need any more prequels. Like, we're pretty good on the background of all this stuff. Lead writer actually just this week left due to health issues, ongoing health issues.
Like
he's
left.
He's done. So who knows how much how really. So who knows how much was already done on his end, or if anyone's going to take his place, or maybe they've already moved past his thing and they're just editing stuff. I don't know.
I think if he had ongoing health issues, you'd think somebody was there with him,
Yeah.
doing writing next to him,
Mhm.
and had his ideas, and he just like handed them his notebook and said, "All right, this is your pony now. Bye."
You choose how to end the game. Thanks.
It's the only thing I didn't write. I'm feeling sick.
And so the rumors, as we're talking about release date, they're saying 2018 because it came out like in a budget meeting, like a conference call with investors at Gearbox, that there was going to be a big release for an existing franchise for Gearbox in the 2019 fiscal year, which starts next April. So if you look at existing Gearbox franchises, you have Borderlands.
Pretty much.
So we know they're working on it. They announced it back in January 2015 at PAX South. We know it's a thing they are working on. That's kind of like their next big
Could be a new Bulletstorm.
Boy, I hope it's not a new Bulletstorm.
I do too.
Bulletstorm was great for
They
itself.
technically have Duke Nukem as well.
Ooh, that last one went over so poorly. Which was sad.
Homeworld.
Yeah.
Sama de Amigo?
Oh, that must be it. It's a very successful thing. So Borderlands, we're very excited. No, like I said, no footage or anything. I would like to think that they make a surprise appearance. Gearbox is going to be there, as far as I'm aware. So I would like to think that we see something. Maybe it's just a quick trailer, like a 30-second teaser. I can't imagine we're going to see something in depth like a God of War type trailer.
No.
But even we're probably still
cool,
we're probably still a year away at least from this game. So I would like to think that they would do something because of the rabid fan base that they have. So fingers crossed. We want to see it, Duff. You know it.
Oh, you know.
Oh, you know. All right. So the next prediction we had was from our good friend Steve of War.
Yay.
He said
Shout out to Steve.
two things. First one is Shenmue 3.
And moving on, the next one.
And if you guys don't remember, Shenmue 3 is it's a long awaited sequel to a couple of older Japanese style RPG games. I honestly don't know much about them.
I don't
I've
either.
Never really
I saw some gameplay that
it's a Far East thing.
some other people did,
You know,
and
it's
it
not
was
really-
just
It's not really like a Western country kind of thing. It's just a different kind of thing. But it was announced at E3 2015.
Yeah.
And the big news, because it was a huge surprise, right? They had the creator of the first two games come out, talk about it, launch a Kickstarter. Whoa, what do you need a Kickstarter for a sequel for a really successful game? Well, the campaign raised $1 million in an hour and 44 minutes. Fastest game to raise that amount through crowdfunding ever. Met its initial goal of $2 million in a little over 8 hours. Fastest Kickstarter campaign to reach that amount ever. They funded for a month from E3 until July 17th, raised $6.3 million from over 69,000 backers. It's the most funded Kickstarter video campaign ever and the sixth most funded Kickstarter campaign of all time. That's insane. They ended up taking more PayPal donations over the next year or two and have brought that number up a bit more. But that's a huge amount of money in a month that they got. So
plus any money they got from Sony.
So they've been updating their Kickstarter regularly with talks about what they're doing. There's probably some screenshots and things like that out there. But then the big news came last week where they said that they were working through the month of June on actually developing the game and wouldn't be at any conferences. Straight from their Kickstarter. I'm not making this up. It's not my guess. I'm sorry, Steve. I know how much you wanted it. It would be really cool to see it. I'm actually kind of disappointed that they're not because...
I mean, what are you doing?
Yeah, Kickstarters have... just kind of a bad reputation for video games,
They do.
right? They're almost always delayed. They never come out on time. They don't deliver on what's promised. There are very few successful Kickstarter video games that you see. So with something like this, you thought, oh man, this is a revered title for a lot of people. A lot of things have to go right for this, and they've got a lot of money. They're great. They should be set. And so now their holiday delivery of December 2017 for all their backers is kind of in jeopardy. So it's concerning. They claim that they're still going to make the holiday launch.
And to do holiday launch and not show up at E3 that year, or something that was such a big deal, you did a huge Kickstarter for it, announced at E3 2 years ago.
Yeah. It's just I don't know. What do they What do they have yet to do that they can't just send someone to E3 with it as well?
Exactly. Like you've got to
I
have
don't
a
know.
vertical slice of that game ready.
Maybe
Like-
E3 is like more difficult for game developers than we realize, but I mean,
Yeah, but this
send a
is-
guy with a video. Like you don't have to have anything
Who's
playable.
the dev on this?
I don't honestly know.
They didn't. Maybe it's not Sony first party.
No, I don't think it is.
3.
Because they
Look at
wouldn't
this
have used a Kickstarter if they're
Different
Sony
mic
first
setup now,
party.
so I can't see my keyboard anymore. YesNet, YSNet,
Oh yeah, YSNet. That's
Yeah.
what they did the other ones too.
Nilo. So, platforms: PlayStation 4, Microsoft Windows. Suck it, Xbox.
So sadly, we won't be seeing that there. Now, next up, it's kind of a dual one. Steve wanted to see some Evil Within 2. Now, I didn't even realize until we started looking into E3 that Evil Within was going to have a sequel. Like that was not a
Never
thing
did.
that I thought would happen. They had the first title was 3 years ago, back in 2014, and it's still got some choppy performance on consoles. It runs well on PC, not so great on consoles still.
Yeah.
Bethesda's the publisher, right? They're not the ones that actually made the game.
It's Bethesda Game Studios, not
I think so.
Bethesda.
So, this could be like their big title.
Softworks, not Bethesda Game Studios. That's what it is.
There you go. So it could be something that we see at E3 this year. There's not a lot of news around it right now. They could use a big title for E3. Bethesda really doesn't have a thing. There's just like we're kind of stalled with that.
Yeah,
So
and we were talking about that before the podcast, so and I guess it's kind of the next thing we're getting ready to lean into is we didn't play Evil Within, so we don't have a lot of input on it.
Mhm.
And we might not play the new one based on our performance in Outlast. But Bethesda can go between franchises for a long time because of how big their franchises are. So you saw Skyrim came out in November 2011. Fallout 4 came out in 2015. It's kind of like nice long gaps in there.
yeah.
But man, if they're making another giant open world game, I would hope they would take time and rework their engine a little bit.
Gosh, tell me.
You want to talk about games made in a vacuum?
Mm.
Because the first thing that came out with Fallout 4 is like everybody loved it and everybody loved how broken it was. Because it's a Bethesda. I mean, it's like their quirk.
Yeah.
It's like, you look at it and it's just like, oh, it's funny because dog meat sunk in the ground. Like, oh, it's funny. Like I was playing it, I was like, oh, it's funny. I accidentally killed one of my main quest characters. I don't have a save before it. Now I can't finish the quest. Oh, it's funny.
Mm-hmm.
Like, take some time and fix that mess, guys. I don't know. What was that picture we just saw on
Oh yeah.
Pixels' video?
So we're gonna throw this up here in the video, but Bethesda sent this out. We're gonna transition to into their whole presentation kind of thing. They have a keynote. Obviously, they're a big thing. So they sent out this pretty sweet picture. It says Bethesda Land, and it's looks like a theme park. And you can kind of see, if you go around in a clockwise fashion, you can see different themes of stuff. So you've got the Elder Scrolls, which they just launched, Elder Scrolls Morrowind Online.
Yep.
You got Doom. Obviously, we had Doom a couple years ago.
What a great
Quake.
game.
Quake Champions is in beta right now. I have an ad telling me on the side of my screen right now, actually. And then they've got something under construction, which we don't know what it is. You got Fallout. Obviously, we had Fallout 4. We've had some DLC for that. Dishonored. We just had Dishonored 2 last year.
True.
And Prey.
Which was a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, Prey
Like
came
last
out.
week.
Prey came out a few weeks ago. And then another project not quite ready to be revealed. So we got two unknowns here. There's one notable franchise that's missing. That's Wolfenstein. Right?
Oh yeah.
That's a Bethesda property. The voice actor basically confirmed that they were working on something back in 2016. We've got an article here about it, but the guy that plays BJ Blazkowicz basically confirming Wolfenstein: The New Colossus is going to be the new game. So a lot of people think that's going to be what debuts here,
Interesting.
which would be great.
I'd be down to play another Wolfenstein.
Wolfenstein was fun. It is a really solid game. And then there's just another one there. A lot of people think it could be Evil Within 2. Some people think it could be something else. Maybe it'll be a brand new IP. We don't know. There's no real indication. They're being I like what they're doing here, teasing us with this really cool theme park image. I don't know. What do you think? Do you think it's going to be Evil Within or brand new thing?
I don't know. I'd like to see something brand new. It's hard to keep these things straight because some of it's Bethesda Softworks and some of it's Bethesda Game Studios, and so it's just like, what do I want to see?
Mm-hmm.
Just like, I'd like to see more Wolfenstein, honestly.
Oh yeah,
because
I bet you we'll see some.
I just finished Wolfenstein last year.
Yeah.
I hadn't just hit a point where it's one of those stupid points where you're right at the end, you just don't know it.
Yep.
And you keep dying and keep coming back to that point. And it's like, I don't have to actually fight this guy.
Yeah, that's the
walk
exact.
out.
We were stuck at the same place. We both stopped at the same time in the same place.
So annoyed.
There's these two huge, tall bad guys, and you like push this button, and you have to run around. You got these guns, and you can kind of kill one of them, and then the second one comes out, and then I had to look it up, and freaking, I could just walk to the exit, just push the button, and just drive out as I'm being shot.
Hop in the
at.
train. Don't. Bye.
I was so mad when that happened, and then I found out I only had like 2 or 3 levels left.
Yeah,
after
you're
that.
right there.
Oh,
at the
I was
end.
so annoyed.
But
So I would love to see new Wolfenstein. I think we'll probably see that. I think that's a pretty safe bet.
when did the Evil Within come out?
Evil Within was 3 years ago,
Okay.
so it could be a sequel to that. Maybe hopefully it performs a little bit better.
Yeah.
But Bethesda games have always had that issue. Wolfenstein did not. Wolfenstein performed really well.
Wolfenstein was good. It didn't review well out of the gate. I think a lot of the issues people had with Wolfenstein was like the first 30 minutes were not that exciting.
Well, Wolfenstein also was kind of the first game for a little while that harkened back to like old school FPS days,
Yeah.
right? With ammo pickups and no health regen and
Not just pickups. Like you have to actually like hit a button,
yeah.
pick it up.
So it was different. It was old school, and I think that threw a lot of people off.
Yeah.
But it is a really solid shooter. It could be very
I
frustrating.
enjoyed it. Fun gameplay.
So I look forward to seeing what Bethesda comes up with. Their showcase is on. Not sure. It's during E3.
Stalling.
I believe it's on the 13th.
during E3.
It's somewhere.
They will be at E3 from the time it starts to the time it ends. They will be there.
Quite possibly.
Sometime.
Anyways, maybe. So that's kind of what we have for E3. If there's stuff that we left out, I'm excited for. Personally, we didn't talk much about it because we've talked about it a lot. But Destiny 2, I'm sure there'll be some stuff there. I'm really hoping that we should get a release date for the beta.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe possibly it'll open at E3, in which case we need to go pre-order so we can have that. So I think we'll see some footage from there.
In the second half of the month.
Probably nothing new from Destiny 2. We might get some new details, but I don't think we'll see anything new. I think we have seen all the gameplay that we're going to see for Destiny before it comes out. But so I think we'll hear more about the beta for Destiny 2 and things like that. Any other games that you can think of that we're flying over? We kind of hit on most things. Probably some Xbox stuff. I know Sea of Thieves. People are talking about that.
Sea of Thieves people talking about, but I don't really know anything about it.
Crackdown 3, State of Decay 2. State of Decay? Is that the right name?
Yeah, there's something else that we thought of that I mentioned to you that we missed that I did not write down and now have forgotten again.
Yeah, so that's going to do it for this E3 coverage currently right here. But stay tuned. We're going to be bringing you guys a lot of E3 coverage. Our goal is to give you a video at the end of each day of E3.
Yeah.
Just as a recap, in case you guys missed it, didn't get to catch everything. Obviously, the first one's going to be really focused on Sony because Sony is the first day of E3. But we're going to try and hit the big conferences and everyone. It isn't? I thought it was.
It was on Monday.
Microsoft's on Sunday.
Yeah.
That's right. Well, we'll have to talk about that crappy company Microsoft, which is okay. But so we're going to try and bring you guys that every night, just some recaps of it. And just kind of it'll be in this similar format. We'll just discuss what we've seen, get you that information. And yeah, we're excited.
Yeah. I'm just excited to
E3 is just such a good time. It's a good
spend
time.
More time just existing
Good
in the
time
video
in the
game
year.
world.
Yeah, just what I need. More time with video games.
That's what our wives are most excited for every day.
All right, what's next, Jake?
All right, next, speaking of things that we probably won't see at E3, Sony exec comments on backwards compatibility. No. That's basically what we saw. Quote, when we've dabbled with backwards compatibility, I can say it's one of those features that is much requested, but not actually used much.
Mm-hmm.
Jim Ryan, PlayStation Europe's boss, basically. That's what the article says.
Yeah.
But, quote, that, and I was at a Gran Turismo event recently where they had a PS1, PS2, PS3, and PS4 games, and the PS1 and PS2 games, they looked ancient, and why would anybody play this?
I agree.
I do too. It's one of those things I have commented in the past, and maybe even on the show before, that I would love to have backwards compatibility.
Mhm.
After reading this article, I kind of don't.
You probably don't need it.
It's just one of those things. I read it, and the first thing I wrote down on our notes is this something we actually want? We can play PS3 games through PS Now. We can buy PS2 games in the store.
Yeah, granted, there's going to be exceptions. There's some PS3 games you can't get there.
Yeah.
But I mean,
But
in
if
the
you
grand,
can't, do you really need them?
like, are you wanting it to play games that you've already played, want to play again? Like, in that case, why did you get rid of your PS3? First, I get there's
Yeah.
like a convenience factor of
Or
like
do you want to
same
play games
controller,
you missed?
everything. Yeah, and I mean, realistically, what did you really miss that you need to go back and do that hasn't been remastered?
Red Dead.
Red Dead would be really the
This is
only
my first
thing.
thought.
And that's on PS Now, I
Yeah.
believe. So I don't know. Like, PS Now seems like a really good function. I think the pricing structure is a lot better than it was when they first launched, and they had experimented with buying the games, and then they moved to a subscription model. And I think it's getting better,
Yeah.
and the service itself works really well if you have internet. That's kind of a key requirement.
I just think it's one of those things that it's fun to think about.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I can go back and play like Jack and Daxter.
Yeah.
I can hop my PS4 play Jack and Daxter. But I know I would pull it up. I would play for 10 minutes and be like, yep, close it, never play it again.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things. The nostalgia of it overpowers the usefulness of it.
Yeah, because I mean, there's some things that I have on PS3 that I didn't finish, like God of War Ascension. I didn't finish.
I did finish that.
And there's the Ratchet and Clank Remaster Collection. I didn't finish that. The Jack and Daxter Remaster Collection. I didn't finish that. Like, I started it, and so that would be cool to have available on PS4. But realistically, would I play it? I don't know if I would, because I don't get that strike to like.
Especially
go back
in the
and do
climate of
that.
games we're in. Like, I'm not sitting here
Mm-hmm.
really itching to go back and play those games. Like, what we would use it for would be Let's Plays.
Yeah.
That's where that function would lie useful to us, but we have a lot of the games and consoles that we would play already.
Right.
It's like we have our PS3, we have a PS2, we have a Super Nintendo. Like, we have all these old stuff just laying around. And so I just don't think it's something that we would need that badly.
Yeah, it just, there's no real function for me that I can really get behind anymore. You know, it's something that I thought it would be really cool to be able to grab my PS3 disc, stick it in my PS4, and play that game. But I don't know. It's a very limited use.
PS3 games.
I have a PS3 still. I can get out. I don't like the PS3 controller.
I don't either.
Now that I've used the PS4 extensively, I'm like, wow, this thing sucks.
Yeah.
It's awful.
And with all the new games coming out, there'll be plenty of things to take up your time that aren't
just not worth it.
old. So, moving on from that. It was good. That was a good self-check moment, I think.
I gotcha.
With that coming out, it's like, yeah, you're right. I don't want backwards compatibility. I know the internet's probably in an uproar about it, and other people were like, blah, blah, blah. Who cares?
Well, I mean, when
Squeaky
PS4 was launching, it was a much bigger deal because everyone still was playing their PS3s.
It's true.
So nowadays, it's like, well, why are you still playing that? There's no one's still doing that anymore. At least with the idea of like, oh man, I was gonna get a PS4, but I can't play my PS3 games on it anymore, so I gotta get off. No, sorry.
We've moved past PS3 days.
Yep.
Speaking of things we've moved past, Sony has no plans to launch a Vita Successor. This comes as no shock to anyone that follows gaming and mainly PlayStation.
Right.
Sony stopped supporting the Vita a long time ago with AAA support, with first-party support. There's still some third-party people putting out games. 2015. No, it was last year. Severed.
Yep.
Drinkbox Studios
That was a good
launched Vita exclusive Severed, which is actually now on iPhones, I believe. It is now a mobile game. It launched as, I think,
That's funny.
I'm pretty sure actually, Severed. Yes, platforms: PlayStation Vita, 3DS, Wii U, iOS now.
Wow.
So it launched as a Vita exclusive.
It's a $2.99
first.
game on the iPhone.
Yeah, it was Vita exclusive first for like a year, I think, and then it moved everything. So timed exclusive. Back here, Sean Layden, quote, I don't know if it was more technology people had to carry around, or more things to charge, or whether their phone or tablet were taking care of that. But once content's loaded in that pipeline, it became hard to keep the Vita as a going concern.
I mean, I think it's tough because what you had to compete with was Nintendo's handheld consoles, and those have always been really good. The PSP did decently well, much better than the Vita did.
Yeah, but the PSP also did well, as we mentioned before, because you could kind of jailbreak it, and you could play Nintendo games on a PSP. That was one of those things. PSP sold in the ballpark of like 82 million units. The DS has sold 154 million units. So when you look at those two, the Vita has sold a little over 12 million,
which is about what the Wii U is sold.
it's
you want to get really sad.
It's really close. Yeah. Did I put where that drops? Nope. Yeah, I did. No, I didn't. Yeah, lands right behind the Wii U and right above the Master System.
Oh man.
Above the Master System. It's currently the second best-selling handheld console outside of Nintendo, which sounds impressive. The first best-selling one was the PSP, but when you look at what's around it, it's the Bandai Wonder Swan, Nokia N-Gage.
Oh, I remember the N-Gage.
And the Atari Lynx.
Oh no. That's
companies
awful.
that don't exist anymore. Well, they exist. They don't make hardware.
I mean, come on now. Yeah.
But it's one of those things. I have a
awesome.
Vita. I liked playing it, but it was one of those things.
It's very
I
niche.
always wanted the Vita to be the Switch,
Yeah.
because the Switch is truly like console experience on the go.
Yep.
I slide my controllers on, walk out, and keep playing Breath of the Wild, just like I
Yep.
do on my TV.
It's exactly like in the commercials. It just
Yeah, and I know the Vita
Crazy.
launched in a different climate, and it wasn't really possible then. Like I played Killzone Mercenaries, and it was fun. Problem with the Vita was that the screen was a little small, and the sticks were not good.
yeah.
They were just too short. And so you try to do anything precision aiming. Like I had my Vita came with Borderlands 2, and so you can't like do like precision aiming. You're just like choop, choop.
Yep. That's the key. Yeah, I think it's interesting that he even in this article acknowledges it. He says about the Switch, he says it's definitely what Nintendo fan base has been waiting for. When you look at our numbers, I think it shows a lot of gamers are a two-console family. Quite often those two consoles are PlayStation and Nintendo sitting side by side.
Yes.
I don't know where he gets his numbers from. I can't imagine that that's actually true, but it's cool that he's okay with it being that way.
Yeah, it was a really good nod to like, hey, Nintendo's doing a great job.
Yeah, I mean it's true. I there's no reason to have a PlayStation and an Xbox. So therefore, Nintendo's actually doing something different. Granted, they don't have games for it yet, but they will. It'll get there.
Neither does Xbox.
No, see, Xbox has all those multi-platform games. They just don't have exclusives yet.
They'll never have exclusives because Windows exists.
Oh,
But
that's another.
on one
another
hand, it's
talk.
kind of like, yeah, it's kind of sad to see the Sony handheld go. On the other hand, it's like, unless they put out something that's the Switch
Yeah.
that I can just take with
Well,
me
I mean,
and keep
it's-
playing The Last of Us 2.
Really, it comes down to what's already dominating the handheld market. You have phones, which are a very specific type of game.
Yep.
And then you have
Bad.
the DS, which are Nintendo games. And so you can't really do mobile games. You can't do Nintendo games.
Yeah.
So you have to come up with a bunch of new IPs and a bunch of new things. Or you just take all of your existing IPs and make mobile versions of them, basically. It's just a no-win scenario. I think if they were able to, if there was Pokemon, like something like Pokemon on PlayStation for handheld stuff like that, it'd
Yeah.
be different. But they don't have that one title.
Yeah, they
that
don't have their
screams Vita.
like. They don't have a mascot. They don't have like a pillar game of like
Yeah.
definitive Vita game. There's some cool games on it, like Severed was kind of cool. It was a first-person dungeon crawler, but you could tell when you played it, it was made for a phone because it was touchscreen control. So you walk up to the enemies and you swipe on them to kill them. And it was fun. It was more deep than your average mobile game. You have games like Salt and Sanctuary, which is kind of like a 2D side-scrolling Dark Souls.
Yeah.
Which is kind of cool, but at the end of the day, like they're all that thing. If you ever watch our initial reaction series, which heads up, first one came out yesterday.
You should.
Check it out. But you'll see when we run across cross-platform games, first thing we say on the ones that aren't PS4 exclusive, oh, it's like a Vita game. Like textures are just really smooth and cartoony. They're really shiny. Usually it's top down.
Which I mean, there's nothing wrong with
No.
graphics like that.
There's nothing wrong with those in particular, but you can just tell. Sorry, that the game's made the difference between Killing Floor 2 and Spy Chameleon, right? Like maybe that's an
Yeah.
unfair comparison, but it's just like, yeah, this one's clearly made to be a mobile game on the go. It's a time-based collection game. This one is like zombie slaying, horde mode game.
Yep.
And so just two very different games. It was never really console experiences. I don't know what the Uncharted game was like on Vita.
I mean,
Golden
I've heard really good things about it.
I have too.
It used the features well. It was one of the early games for the Vita, and they thought, okay, if we just do more stuff like this, it'll work. And then nobody did.
Yeah, nobody
'Cause there
bought
was
it.
No, the problem was that no one was buying the Vita at the beginning.
Yeah.
And so it's the same problem that the Wii U had. Wii U had a crappy launch. They didn't have enough games for it, and as a result, people didn't buy it.
Nope.
So now the Switch is like correcting
Kind of the
all
worry of the
those.
Switch a little bit, though.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, there's a few games out there, but the problem is the hardware is, I'll say the problem. The hardware is really good.
Yeah,
So it's
the
hard to
hardware's
say no
not
to
the
it.
problem like the Wii U was.
No, I think what I've heard is the best game for the Vita was Tearaway. the first one.
Yeah.
Because it used all the features of the Vita in such a good way. The Vita, if you didn't know, if you never used one, has a touchpad on the back.
Yeah.
Which is awful.
It's
It's terrible. Because you can't set this thing down anywhere because you're like, well, if I put it on the back, it's going to scratch back touchpad. Put it on the front, it's going to scratch front touchpad. I got to put it in a case. Probably I just need to set it down for... Bleh. It's stupid. Whoever's idea that was, shame on you.
I mean, it's a cool concept.
It's a cool concept, but it's just bad. But so in Tearaway, like you have a moment where you got to cross a gap. You put your finger on the back touchpad, and a finger pops up in the game, and so you move it around. And it's that kind of thing. You're jumping on buttons and this kind of thing. It was really cool. It was way better than Unfolded, if you're curious. But not that it really matters that much.
There was some really good moments with it, but it's So it was a lot of it. The Vita was kind of billed as like a way to remote play from your PS4. Like it was like, oh, I could play any game that I could play on my PS4. I'm going to remote play on my Vita. Turns out that experience actually kind of sucks.
It does. Also, the Vita needs a ball-in Wi-Fi connection to work that well.
Yeah.
Like even if you do like its own network thing, it's still kind of slow. Like I would do the same thing we talked about doing remote play on your phone with.
Yeah.
You know, I'd load up Destiny and go pick up quests and see Xur and all this stuff. I would never play a game that I needed actual reaction for.
Yeah.
Partly because there were no triggers. There was the two shoulder buttons.
Yeah.
It's like they either moved R1 and L1 to the back touchpad, which were hard to reach. You could never really tell where they were supposed to be. And then, you know, your triggers are up here. Just kind of like, And then not long after, well, I said not long. It felt like not long. The remote play for the computers came out, and it's like, okay, that's kind of the death nail for Vita.
Yeah.
That was Vita's last clinging hope was we can remote play from anywhere. And then it's like, well, you can load up your computer and remote play with your actual controller. Like, that's what I want to do.
And it works pretty well. I mean, you got to have the ball and internet connection still, but
there's still a little bit of input lag.
Like, I'm not going to go in and go run a raid in Destiny, but if I want to go do some bounties, or if I want to jump into like a single player offline thing and do that, that's great. So it's just, that was kind of its last hurrah. But I remember like the initial marketing for the Vita was like the guy just like carrying it around, and he was playing like MLB The Show on it, like from his, and he gets home and he pauses it and then like picks up his regular controller and boom, he's right in the same game.
It did work that smooth.
It did.
The Switch is still a little bit smoother. See, that's
because it's the same console.
Yeah, and that's the thing for it now. Any new handheld console that's going to come out and try to make a claim like console quality games on the go, it's like you are competing with the Switch. You're competing with Breath of the Wild, and then in a little while, Mario Odyssey.
It's gonna have
Mario
to be.
Kart.
It's gonna have to be one of those things. I think you just have to tip your hat to Nintendo and let them take it.
Yep.
Because no one has anything like that. And they already have the successful 3DS line and the 2DS, all that crap that they have there.
Yeah.
They're just dominating that market. Now they've got a console that can also do those same things. It allows for a lot of things. Monster Hunter's coming onto the Nintendo Switch for the first time on a home console in a very long time. And so you've got some really cool things happening for the Switch. There's just, who is going to bother getting into the handheld market anymore? Sony was a big dog in the game, and they still are. They're dominating Microsoft in the console gaming industry. Yeah. They couldn't make it work.
We'll see about that Scorpio though.
We'll see. But I mean, that's if Sony can't make a handheld work and Microsoft isn't willing to throw their hat in, like that's it.
Yeah.
There's no bother. Wins. Any new thing's going to take 3 to 5 years at least to develop. And
I think the good part about Nintendo winning in that thing, in that particular market, is they push themselves to innovate with no competition.
It's true.
Nintendo's never really had, well, back in the day, they had competition with Sega.
Yeah.
And we all see where that went. But now Nintendo is their own corner of the market. Like, you don't compare Nintendo to the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One and PC gaming especially.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, they're their own thing. And they push themselves to innovate anyways. Yeah. So good on you, Nintendo.
That's true.
We're proud of you.
I mean, there's a lot of things that you're doing wrong, but...
Yeah, but this time, you did something cool.
Yes.
This once.
Kudos.
All right. Wrapping up the show.
Yeah.
Like always, the drop.
The drop.
The Drizzy Drizzop. It's back to normal. We have pictures and things.
Ooh.
So it makes me
kind of surprised
happy.
It was back to normal considering E3 still hasn't happened yet.
I know. It's just in the 4 weeks out from E3, it's gone. 3 weeks out from E3, it's gone. 2 weeks out, it's fine. Whatever.
Fine. Don't worry about it.
We're a week out. Shorten that all up by a week, and the analogy still works.
Oh yeah.
Up first of note, Dirt 4. Racing game.
Yep.
World's lead-off road racing series is back. Dirt 4 puts you at the wheel of the most powerful machines ever made as you face the toughest roads and circuits on the planet in Rally, Rallycross, and Land Rush. So, rally racing.
Yeah, pretty much.
Congratulations.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same as
I was waiting for you to be ready with the next game.
No, you're good. That's I was just so
opened it
excited
up.
about it. Elder Scrolls Online Morrowind. If you know Morrowind or Skyrim or Elder Scrolls, all that crap.
Yep.
It's that. It's online. It's an MMO. People have said really good things about it. If you like that universe, like this is for you. I'm not really like invested in it. We've been
I've
playing
never
through
done Elder Scrolls
Skyrim.
Online.
So I think it'll be cool.
Like, yeah.
I love like if they're doing like a free trial or something, I might check it out.
Give it a
But
try.
my problem with MMOs in general are I have a very addictive personality, and so that's why I never picked up World of Warcraft, because it doesn't have to be perfect, right? It doesn't have to be flawless in terms of an MMO. Give me a bunch of content, like give me some cool quests, and that's it. I'm done. I'm dead. Like I did Final Fantasy 14. I did a little bit of. They had a free weekend or something few years back, and I started playing that, and I was like, I gotta put this down. This is too awesome. It's too great. Because MMOs, there's just always more stuff to do.
Yep.
There's a ton to do.
Doesn't end.
It takes a ton of time. It doesn't end. That's really cool. I can't do those because my body physically won't be able. Like right now with Breath of the Wild, like it's affecting like my daily life. Like that's how much I want to play this.
You know,
game.
it's
It's
our first messages
amazing.
of the day to each other is always like, "Hey, I did this thing in Breath of the Wild."
Yeah. Hey, did you find the shrine with the 3 things you had to break, and then throw this thing over the thing, and then you do the thing, and then you set it on fire, and then you dance the rain dance? Oh
That's it.
yeah, that's so cool, man.
Use a no, James. I'm at work right now.
So I could never do something like that, but they say it's really good.
Yeah.
So and then this one's my favorite, Farming Simulator.
I know.
18.
I looked up information for this because I had no idea Farming Simulator.
Well, they've been putting them
was
out for
such-
years.
I know they have, but it's just one of those things. I want to know how popular it was.
Yeah.
So here we go. Farming Simulator 17 has a whopping 1 million players, 1 million people pretending to farm from the comfort of their living rooms. Publisher Focus Home Interactive has said that's a.
That was that was in the first month.
That's
of
a total
release.
achieved less than a month after the game went on sale.
That's insane.
Excuse me? That's almost twice the sales of previous Farming Simulator, which went on sale. The previous Farming Simulator 16 went on to sell over 3 million copies. There are high hopes for
Crazy.
Farming Simulator 17
I don't get.
as well.
I've read a little bit about it. I think everyone's draw to it is just like a nice, relaxing thing you can just casually play and
therapeutic.
hang out, therapeutic kind of thing. I don't know. I've met a lot of farmers, and they don't ever seem calm and therapeutic, personally.
Nope.
So
Farming seems stressful.
maybe it's easier when your equipment probably doesn't break down. I don't know. I don't
Who
know
knows? Maybe we'll get it.
how I don't know how simulated it is. Like, does your equipment break down? Do you have to buy a bunch of used tractors because you don't have money for those nice new fancy ones? Like, how does it work? Is there a
I want to
swap
get
and
this
shop?
for your wife for Christmas.
I don't. Is there a swap and shop where you have to go and get the 1950s tractor because you can't afford the 1960s tractor? I want to know. Are these poor farmers? Are they rich farmers? Are they American? Are they like
Based
from the
on what
United
I've seen from
Kingdom?
Farming Simulator, these are rich farmers.
Yeah.
They have a lot of land and really nice brand spanking new John Deere tractors.
Yeah, that's kind of
They
my.
are not poor.
I've just been curious about it. So we might check it out. Maybe it'll come to Redbox and we'll rent Farming Simulator 18.
That'll be awesome. I didn't see this one when I was first looking through it. Neighbor Horde is a couch co-op shoot 'em up where you and your team of friends use toys as weapons and game-changing superpowers to survive evil robots and zombie Abe Lincolns.
Done. Sign me up.
Into it.
That's how you get someone to sign up with a sentence. That's how you write a teaser sentence.
That's
Right there.
awesome.
Let's see. We've got blah, 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 blah. Special delivery.
Special delivery.
PSVR. This is the key here. Dodge cars, dogs, and tornadoes as you grow your subscriber base and expand your paper route in this arcade-inspired newspaper delivery game. That sounds like fun.
Oh, I've heard it sucks.
Almost sounds similar to like a Frogger type thing.
Paperboy.
Paperboy.
Paperboy in
Well,
VR.
That's true.
I've
Fair
watched some Let's Plays on it. Everyone that's done it says it's not good.
Well, there you go.
So, even like I watched, there's some Let's Players out there that you watch and they like almost everything, and some that are like super honest, some that just don't like anything. I watched all of them. All of them kind of have the same thing. They're all kind of like, it's not. I watched one guy play it and then get it. He's like, don't waste your $20, and deleted it like on the Let's Play footage because he played it for like 20 minutes, like gave it fair crack of the whip,
Yeah.
but he's just like, not worth it. Delete.
Gosh. All right, last
sucks.
one here. I think last one. Yeah, last one. Yeah, I got one. It is Wipeout Omega Collection, all the way at the bottom. This is interesting because everyone knows Wipeout, right? It's just a bunch of really fast-paced racing that you can't ever see the details from. So you got Wipeout HD, Wipeout HD Fury, and Wipeout 2048. The key here, like obviously this is really cool if you like Wipeout, if that's been your thing. That's always been a big thing. It's a nice racing game. It's a very different pace.
Yeah.
It's very quick. The key here is the optimizations for the PS4 Pro. I was reading an article and they say it's one of the best optimized PS4 Pro games there is out there right now. It runs 4K native at 60 frames a second.
Well, if you try that on our PS...
Yeah, exactly. So if you got a PS4 Pro, definitely check this out. But
Let us know how it
Digital
is.
Foundry talked about it, and they're kind of like the de facto standard for, is this game like a quality like game, like visually? And
Yeah.
so they love it. Everybody loves it in that sense. I don't know. Playing it, I don't know. It's Wipeout. Wipeout was like, man, this is really cool. This is really fun. 10 minutes later,
Man, this is really the same.
so I don't know. I might check it out.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Don't imagine we see that one in Redbox.
Nah, probably.
But that's going to wrap it up for the show today. Guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for sending us your responses to our questions this last week. Make sure you do hit us up on Twitter at IRGames, hashtag POI. And I'm sure it'll make it through the persons of interest mess. If you're really that worried about it, don't be. I promise we'll see it.
Yeah.
As long as you actually tweet at us. But until then, thanks for hanging out, guys.
Bye.
Bye.